5 old wheat pennies, 5 overlooked dates, and one question: which coin deserves the most attention from collectors? Some of these ordinary-looking cents carry fascinating history and serious collector interest. Before you spend another old penny, check the date, mint mark, and condition. Our countdown starts now, and coin 1 may surprise you. First up, imagine pulling an old wheat penny from a family collection and realizing the date alone deserves a second look. Struck in 1940, this Philadelphia minted Lincoln wheat penny may look like just another worn piece of copper, but collectors know that age, preservation, and demand can completely change how an ordinary coin is viewed. In 1940, America was standing at the edge of one of the most important periods in its history. The United States was still officially outside World War II, but the country was already watching events overseas closely. Millions of everyday coins were being produced for commerce, and this penny became part of that remarkable era. Turn it over, and you'll see Abraham Lincoln facing right on the obverse with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," Liberty, and 1940. Since this coin has no mint mark, it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That absence of a mint mark is important when identifying the coin, because Philadelphia Lincoln cents traditionally carried no mint letter. The reverse carries the classic wheat design, with 2 wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with a pluribus unum. It's a simple design, but one that has become one of the most recognizable images in American coin collecting. This standard issue penny was made from bronze, about 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures about 19 millimeters across, and is roughly 1.52 millimeters thick with a plain edge. And now comes the part that makes collectors pay attention: condition. Your example is described as very fine, meaning the major design details remain clearly visible, but the coin has experienced noticeable circulation. Original surfaces become especially important here. Collectors inspect the date, lettering, Lincoln's portrait, wheat lines, color, surface quality, and overall preservation before deciding how desirable an example may be. The 1940 date is historically collectible, and attractive surviving examples continue to draw attention. Auction activity can become especially interesting when well-preserved coins appear, because collectors compete for pieces that remain original and appealing. Based on the collector market value you provided, this coin currently valued at $35,000. So if you ever come across a 1940 wheat penny, don't casually toss it back into circulation. Do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and hurt collector appeal. Original surfaces matter, and professional grading may be worthwhile before making any major decision. And remember, this is only the beginning. The next coin in our countdown takes us even deeper into the world of wheat pennies, where one overlooked detail can make collectors stop and look twice. Next up, some coins get overlooked simply because they look too familiar. But pick up a 1955 wheat penny, turn it between your fingers, and you'll see why collectors still stop for coins from this era. This particular example was struck at the San Francisco Mint, and its story begins in a very different America. In 1955, the United States was deep into the post-war boom. New cars were filling American roads, families were buying modern appliances, and the country was rapidly changing. Yet, in everyday commerce, a small bronze Lincoln cent was still doing exactly what it had been made to do: keep American transactions moving. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln faces right, surrounded by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," Liberty, and 1955. Look just below the date, and you'll find the small S mint mark. That letter identifies San Francisco as the facility that produced this coin, giving collectors another important detail to verify. Flip it over, and the classic wheat reverse appears. Two wheat stalks frame 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum stretches across the top. It's a design that had already become deeply familiar to Americans, but today, those wheat ears are exactly what make these cents so recognizable to collectors. The coin itself is a bronze composition of approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams, measures roughly 19 millimeters in diameter, and is approximately 1.52 millimeters thick. The edge is plain, just as you would expect on a standard Lincoln cent of this period. Now take a closer look at the condition. This example is described as fine, meaning it has clear evidence of circulation with moderate wear across the higher points of the design. That matters because condition can dramatically influence collector interest. Collectors inspect the date, mint mark, Lincoln's portrait, lettering, wheat details, color, and especially the originality of the surfaces. The 1955 San Francisco issue remains part of the classic wheat penny collecting story, and collectors continue searching for examples with attractive, original preservation. Certain specimens have sold for impressive prices at auction, while attractive survivors become harder to find as more pieces are lost, damaged, or cleaned. Based on the collector market value you provided, this example is valued at $22,000. So if one turns up in an old jar, box, or family collection, slow down before you dismiss it. Do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Original surfaces matter, and professional grading may be worthwhile if you believe you have a particularly desirable example. And we're only moving higher through this countdown. The next coin has another date that could make you look at old wheat pennies very differently. Next up, there's something special about finding a coin that quietly survived an entire generation before ending up in your hands. A 1941 wheat penny can look ordinary at first glance, but this Philadelphia minted cent carries a piece of American history that collectors still appreciate today. America, in 1941, was entering one of the most dramatic moments of the 20th century. The nation was still at peace for most of the year, but World War II was already reshaping life around the world. Before the year was over, America would enter the conflict, making coins from this period part of an unforgettable chapter in U.S. history. This penny was made for everyday commerce, just like millions of other Lincoln cents. On the front, Abraham Lincoln faces right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty Bish," and 1941. There's no mint mark beneath the date, which identifies it as a Philadelphia issue. Turn it over, and the familiar wheat stalks surround 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum appears above. That reverse design had been part of American coinage for decades, and it would remain one of the most recognizable symbols of the classic wheat penny era. The composition is traditional bronze, approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams, measures roughly 19 millimeters across, and is about 1.52 millimeters thick. The edge is plain, with no reading. But here's where the collector's eye becomes important. This example is described as very fine, meaning the coin has circulated but still retains a substantial amount of its original design detail. Collectors will immediately examine the date, Lincoln's portrait, lettering, wheat lines, color, surface quality, and overall preservation. A coin that has survived with attractive original surfaces can become much more appealing than one that has been harshly cleaned or damaged. The 1941 date is firmly connected to a fascinating period in American history, and collectors continue searching for surviving examples from this era. As time passes, attractive original pieces become harder to find, while auction activity can bring strong attention to well-preserved examples. Based on the collector market value you provided, this coin is valued at $23,000. So if you discover one tucked inside an old collection, don't rush to spend it. Do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Cleaning can permanently change the surface and reduce collector appeal. Original surfaces matter, and professional grading may be worthwhile when the coin appears especially well preserved. But keep watching, because this countdown is moving into even more intriguing territory. The next wheat penny has a different story, and one detail could make collectors look twice before putting it back in the jar. Next up, some old coins survive because somebody saved them. Others survive simply because nobody realized they were worth looking at. That's what makes a 1958 wheat penny interesting. This Denver minted Lincoln cent comes from the final year of the original wheat penny series, giving it a special place in American coin collecting. By 1958, America was deep into the post-war era. Families were buying new homes, television was becoming part of everyday life, and American industry was moving quickly toward a modern future. Yet inside pockets, cash registers, and coin jars, the familiar Lincoln wheat penny was still circulating across the country. On the obverse, Lincoln faces right beneath the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with 1958 below. Look closely beneath the date, and you'll find the small D mint mark. That tells us this coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the major facilities responsible for supplying American commerce with circulating cents. Flip it over, and you get the classic wheat reverse. 2 wheat ears surrounding 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. And there's an important piece of history here. The 1958 issue belongs to the final year of the wheat penny's original production before the Lincoln Memorial design took over in 1959. This standard issue cent was made from bronze, approximately 95% copper, and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams, measures approximately 19 millimeters in diameter, and is around 1.52 millimeters thick. The edge is plain. Now look beyond the date. Condition is where collectors start separating ordinary circulated pieces from genuinely attractive examples. This coin is described as very fine, so collectors would examine Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the wheat stalk details, the date and mint mark, color, and especially the originality of the surfaces. Survival matters too. Millions of coins were produced and circulated, but years of handling, damage, corrosion, and cleaning have removed many attractive examples from the collector pool. Collectors continue searching for pieces with strong detail and natural original surfaces, and certain specimens have attracted impressive prices through auction activity. Based on the collector market value you provided, this 1958 Denver wheat penny is valued at $19,000. So if you find one in an old jar, don't automatically assume it's just another worn penny. Do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Original surfaces matter, and professional grading may be worthwhile if the coin appears unusually well preserved. And now, we've reached the final stretch. One more wheat penny remains, and after seeing what came before it, you may never look through an old coin collection the same way again. Next up, what if the coin sitting quietly at the bottom of an old jar turns out to be the one you should have never overlooked? A 1956 wheat penny may look familiar, but this Denver minted Lincoln cent comes from a fascinating period in American history, and its final place in our countdown makes it one worth examining carefully. In 1956, America was changing fast. The post-war economy was expanding, families were moving into new homes, and American manufacturing was booming. Yet millions of Americans still carried small bronze Lincoln cents every day. This penny was made for ordinary commerce, passing through countless hands before some examples eventually found their way into collections. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln faces right with "In God We Trust" above him, "Liberty" beside the portrait, and 1956 below. Beneath the date sits the small D mint mark, identifying Denver as the facility where this coin was produced. Turn it over, and the familiar wheat penny reverse immediately tells you what you're holding. 2 wheat stalks frame 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum appears above. It's a simple design, but it represents one of the most recognizable chapters in American coinage. Like the other classic Lincoln cents from this era, this coin is made primarily of bronze, approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams, measures roughly 19 millimeters across, and is about 1.52 millimeters thick. Its edge is plain. Now comes the part collectors care about most: preservation. This example is described as fine, so there is visible circulation wear, but important design elements remain identifiable. When examining one, collectors look closely at the date, the D mint mark, Lincoln's portrait, lettering, wheat details, color, and surface quality. And remember, survival isn't just about how many were originally produced. Decades of circulation, damage, environmental exposure, and improper cleaning have taken their toll on countless old cents. Attractive original examples become harder to find, which helps maintain collector interest. Demand remains strong among collectors who appreciate classic wheat pennies and historically significant U.S. coinage. Based on the collector market value you provided, this 1956 Denver wheat penny is valued at $21,800. So before you toss an old wheat cent into a spending pile, stop and inspect it. Do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Original surfaces matter, and professional grading may be worthwhile when a coin appears especially attractive. And that brings us to the end of our countdown, but not the end of the hunt. Go back through your old jars, family collections, boxes, and inherited coins. You never know which forgotten date deserves a closer look. If you enjoyed the hunt, like this video, subscribe to USA Coin Reveal and share it with another collector. And most importantly, check your collection, because the next valuable discovery could already be sitting in your hands.